And if you just saw the result, you might say same as last season. But if you see the performance, did that feel like progress? Did it feel like a stride forward?
Yeah, I'm really proud of the guys. I think they were really brave in everything they did during the game. So the performance, congratulations for the performance, not congratulations because we lost the game at home. I think we deserve clearly a different result, and we need to move forward to the next one.
So what did you like about the performance? What did you do well that gave you control in large parts of the match?
We were more aggressive than last year. We sprint more. We were more brave. We let one against one all the game. We press high, and then with the ball we had quality. Even when the stadium makes some sounds, we continue to play. This season that players like Cunha, like Brian, in one moment can elevate the stadium. So I think the most important thing, we were not boring.
No, you weren't boring. So Mbeumo and Cunha, even though they weren't able to get on the score sheet today, did you feel like compared to last season, they gave you a threat, even in moments where maybe Arsenal were on top in the game?
Yeah, you always feel in the game that they can do something and they can push the team. Not just with the ball, but without the ball. They press really well. They are working really hard. Again, I'm proud for the game that they played, everybody, but we lost and we need to work on different things.
Yeah. And did the reaction of the fans at full time actually tell you something? Did that tell you that I think they quite liked what they saw?
Even during the game, but again, we need to win games, but that was a completely different game from last season.
Okay, what did you make of the goal you conceded?
It's more or less the same that happened sometimes. It happened last year. For me, it's not playing the ball. It's protecting the guys that they are attacking. I understand that we want goals, but when you touch in the goalkeeper in that way, I think it's hard. And especially to lose with a goal like this, I think it's hard.
What would you say to your goalkeeper then? What, bad luck, that was a foul, or does he have to be stronger in that instance?
It's hard to be strong when you have to push and to go for the ball. Sometimes you are pushing and then you don't have more hands to go for the ball. We need to be stronger in that moments, but especially we need to do the same thing in the opposite side. So we are not changing the rules. We have to adapt to the rules. And today was it's hard to accept because I think we were the better team.
Okay. Lastly, then, how do you see that goalkeeper situation moving forward? Bayindir was obviously in goal today. You've got Tom Heaton and Arna not in the squad at all. Is that a fight between the three of them in the last few weeks of the transfer window? Would you like to add a goalkeeper?
No, it's we have players to win any game of Premier League. We need to focus. Forget about the noise. We are fighting for the places. That is a good thing, but we are playing as a team. Doesn't matter who is playing. We want to win games.
Touched on it earlier. Do you see ground for optimism here for Manchester United this season?
Yeah, I think with a couple of signings that have come in, we saw today, I was encouraged by that. Again, they look like Man United players. They were happy to deal with the pressure. They look like they're good characters. But we discussed it many times before. We can be going around in circles. There's still that worry about United at the back. Ultimately, they're all talking about, I'm hearing obviously noises again about proud, it was a good performance, but they've lost the game, you know, and talk about not being boring, but you've got to score goals to win football matches or you're constantly under pressure. There's a good chance you will concede a goal in the Premier League, but if you can't score even the last two competitive games, if you want to say, they lost to Spurs, never scored a goal in the final. They've lost an important game again today, didn't score a goal. You look at, first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Man United, even over the last 20, 30, 40 years, is about their attacking players and goal scorers and people who win you matches and big moments. And I know they've got a couple just in the door, but I don't see that with the other group. And they can come out afterwards and say, we're a bit unlucky, or Bruno said the fans are great. But all that means, it means very little to me. But again, I think the expectations around the club and the expectations is that low now that everyone's almost happy with that.
Well, they're starting from such a low bar, aren't they? Would you accept that?
Yeah, but that's down on the players because the manager now, he's had his first pre-season, he's had 28 league matches, he's got 27 points. And at the start, we're being told about these coaches coming into the club, and they're brilliant coaches, and all we're hearing is constantly, well, I need to get some players in. And then you bring players in, you spend hundreds of millions, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And then we're talking about the importance of the set pieces. We've seen before, we're watching them here in the warm-up, going through set pieces. But the importance of the set piece is when the game starts.
Well, this head coach never wanted this job middle of last season, did he? He wanted his Manchester United career to start, if you like, today.
I know, but listen, with timing, you can't be picking and choosing when you get a job. Timing's key. So listen, he's got his foot in the door. He's had his pre-season. There is positives, and I was encouraged by particularly some of the new signings. But you still have a problem with the goalkeeper. You still have a problem defensively. And this was an Arsenal team who I think 4 or 5 of their players haven't turned up. Rice, Neb praised Odegaard. I thought Odegaard was shocking. Saka didn't do much. Players off the bench didn't do too much. So this was a poor performance from Arsenal. But again, we gave them credit earlier. You get a result. So from United's point of view, this wasn't a strong Arsenal team coming and going at them, going, listen, we're up against it. But United still didn't win the game. So if we look at the record over the last year or so, or this manager, and after how many games can you sit there and say the same stuff? What's the sign of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. You come to Man United, part of being a Man United player or being at a club and support is entertaining. And part of entertainment, the best part of any football match is when the ball goes into the back of the net. No one gets excited. They get off their seats a little bit if somebody makes a tackle. But you're here to see goals and last-minute goals and big moments. And has this team got that in their locker? Not yet.
Well, the rebuild had to start somewhere, didn't it? They spent £207 million on 3 new front players, 2 of whom started from the outset, Mbeumo and Cunha. And they were, record levels of low goal scoring last season, Daniel. Do you think these players will score goals for Manchester United? Do you think United will score goals this season? That was a great save from Raya.
These players are going to score goals. I have no doubt about it. Mbeumo and Cunha are too good not to score goals. Šeško, I've not seen him yet in the Premier League to really know how the cohesion's going to work with the other two and what type of player he is in this framework. But in regards to Cunha and Mbeumo, we've seen what they can do in the past over the course of their careers in the Premier League, and then coming here today, I'm thinking, wow, like Cunha, very, very special. But then, it's going to be a long season, but I am optimistic for them.
Let me just talk you through this a little bit. Robin van Persie was the last Manchester United player to score 20 or more goals in a Premier League season. And look at all those other clubs who've had success at that. Manchester City have had that happen 10 times. Now, that might have been Haaland multiple times or other players involved in that, but on 10 occasions, a player scored 20 or more since a player last did it for Manchester United. Southampton, Forest, Everton have all done it. Brentford have done it twice, once with Mbeumo. Leicester, Chelsea and Arsenal have done it 3 times. Spurs 7, Liverpool 8. And it's not been through a lack of investment. £761 million has been spent on forwards by Manchester United in that time. And not one of those has managed to get
But it's strange, though, because if you look at the players on that list, there's some amazing players on the list. Lukaku, you're looking at 90 million. He plays at Inter, he does really well. Goes to Napoli, does well. Ronaldo, who know him, Ibrahimovic as well. Cavani, one of the best strikers to run in behind. Falcao, okay, he had his injury problems with his knee at the time. Alexis Sanchez did all right, but I mean.
But what do all these charts mean? We can watch charts all day.
Well,
but a lot of it's on the recruitment. A lot of these players come into the club at a bad time. There is that. There'll be reasons for it. Players come in towards the end of their careers, or players with injuries, or the environment wasn't right, or the club was too big for them.
I suppose the question I want to ask, Roy, is have they spent the money in the right way this summer?
Obviously, we don't
this
know
summer,
yet. Well,
£200 million on the strike force. When you've talked about, but you've talked, Roy, about
players this year specifically for the positions. The manager's identified, he has a framework, he has a style of play which he wants to implement into Manchester United. He's bought those 2 players specifically for them roles. It's a great thing to say, OK, one of them scored 20 Premier League goals, maybe there were some penalties in there, so in open play, likewise for Cunha. So you'd like to think when they come into this football club, they will be able to make that happen. The 20-plus goals thing, I think that's down to the framework, down to which players, who's taking the onus to take the shots. Obviously, them being clinical. The list that you threw up there, you probably got, 10 for Manchester City. 3 or 4 might have been Haaland, and then the other 6 might be Aguero. Salah, Suarez, I think I was one of them, one of those 20s there. Sadio Mane, Tottenham, you've got Harry Kane. you know, the list goes on.
So it doesn't really matter as long as they're getting 15 each or even 12 each.
It's a collective. It's a collective thing. It's like saying, okay, you want 1 for 20 or 3 for 15? What would you prefer?
And some of them, that list there, hey, there's some bad players on that list as well. Let's not kid ourselves. Everyone's going, yeah, these are good players. They weren't all that good.
That's really turned your mood, putting that list up, right?
They weren't all good, yeah.
We're going
it's not always the player's fault either. So when the club are paying 80, 90 million for an average player, that's not on the player. That's on the club for overpaying for the player. But again, some players come to Man United and the timing at the moment to walk into that dressing room wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
But also, that's the good thing for a player coming in now. If they can lift them, then the fans will love him. We saw today with the couple of new players, the fans have gone, we're desperate for success. If you can get us up to the top half of the table, they'll take that because expectations are so low.
And we've still...
Thoughts there from Ruben Amorim in the brand new training facility that we've spent an awful lot of money on. I mean, let's deal with that first of all, because people talk about culture a lot within a football club. When you joined, that training ground was the state of the art and it had gone a little bit tired. How important is that from a player's point of view, the environment to work in day to day?
Yeah, I mean the environment's massive. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get to when I went there, and it was incredible. I think it's probably highlighted because of the results and the need for change. If anything, it's exaggerated probably. If you're winning games, it doesn't really get spoke about.
Yeah.
There's better training grounds, there's worse training grounds around. So I think it can be used in and around it to
Be an excuse.
Both ways, you know, it can be. But listen, the work that's been done, seeing the pictures and the footage of it, it's an incredible setup, and that's part of that freshness and the different feel of, hopefully creating that new culture, a new environment, it's something fresh to move forward with. But it's not going to totally produce results. You got to do that on the pitch, you know, and it's up to the boys to do that.
Will it help the togetherness? And we heard him talking about their clear rules, boundaries, a new senior leadership team with 6 players as well. I mean, I know that great dressing room you were in, the senior pros did it anyway without a team. But is that the modern way? Is that what Ruben Amorim needed to do to try and push United in the right direction?
I think you look at all them little things that you can make a difference and push as a whole in a direction, really, and environments. One, how you together, how the training ground flows, who you're seeing every day, who you see first, how the training day looks, who runs the dressing room, how the manager, the discipline, the responsibilities, behaviours, all that little things add up over a period of time, and you've got to set a standard and an expectation of what it means and how day to day looks. 100%, the players have got to take responsibility and understand what that means.
Is that important from a manager's point of view?
Yeah, it is important. It always is. You know, the environment where you live at the training ground more than you do, you know, the stadium. You might not be there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, you're away from home playing and blah, blah, blah. But you come, that is where you're there every day, and that connection with people and having that. When you're a big club like United, it's very hard to get that family feel. And that's the formula you're looking for. But I mean, we all like, if you're in hospital, you all want to be in a private hospital, don't you? You want the best sort of scenarios. At the end of the day, I'd prefer the best surgeon rather than the hospital that I'm in. And it means going out on the pitch and performing and making sure that is followed up with the end product. And that's what we're going to see today. I do feel it's a good time for them to have that training ground, not only for all them reasons, but it's a fresh start. It seems like a fresh start. You look at that, players will come back and think, this is new. This is the manager really now, he's brought some of his players that he wants in. We're starting again here, boys. What went on? Where we finished in the league last year was there was reasons for it, whatever. We ended up getting to the Europa final, blah, blah, blah. Let's go and play now. This is a fresh start for United, and we've got different people in the house. And I think they're going to have a good season. I really do.
I mean, they couldn't get much worse, could they? So the barometer of going upwards is a must, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the bar was quite low in the way Man United, where what we've seen, Man United, how they played last season, where they finished up, that you know, the goals they scored, it was relegation kind of goals, you know what I mean, in respects of the goals that they were scoring. Now they've added like 3 forwards, you know, in 2 with experience of the Premier League in Cunha and Mbuemo, and then you've got Sesko, who is the next guy on the block, who's coming off the conveyor belt, who's meant to be the next striker. He could be the one. And if you're going to a club like United and it catches for you, which when you look at his ability, what he's capable of doing, Yes, if he gets it right, then they could be a real problem, because I think that between them three, if they're playing in it, there's 20 plus goals in there, and if Man United can get another 20 plus goals, that's amazing for them.
You say that. I've got an unbelievable stat here, which I had to read 3 times, right? Since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, Manchester United have spent, and they're the latest ones, £761 million on strikers. Cool. One of them, in that period, got 50 or more Premier League goals, and that was Anthony Martial. I mean, that is just staggering, isn't it? All the different routes, and you've obviously worked with some of them as a coach there as well, that they have tried, and now Benjamin Šeško is the latest. Is this team better equipped to help a Manchester United centre-forward?
I certainly hope so, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that's to do with the change as well, and so much change. Yeah, of course, it's
recruitment's you've got to have a word. They've got to have a word or a look at the recruitment down the years.
There's different people who've been recruiting. That's what Michael's saying.
Yeah, and I think the change. Yeah, of course, the coaches, managers, and there's a change. I think.
Do you get the impression that there's more of a symmetry now, that they're all together and there is a plan?
It feels like it. I have to say, it does. It feels that, and I've probably said it 3 times already about fresh start. Glenn said it, fresh start. It does feel like that for a number of reasons, and I really hope there's a streamlined, fast track plan, if you like, to think like this is the way forward and how we can. But it's still a massive ask. I know two of the lads there have got good Premier League experience. You're bringing in a younger one in that, and you hope you can get that balance with the players that are already there. But like we've already touched, it's quite a big jump really from last season, and to suddenly expect quick success. It's a big jump with huge, massive expectations.
We covered the Premier League Summer Series here when they were in America, and I noticed Brian Mbuemo saying this week that when he went to America, he knew, he's a United fan, he knew how big United won, or so he thought, and he's the latest one to say this, that when they were in America, he couldn't believe the attention and the scrutiny that Manchester United players are getting.
It's you've got to feel it. And you've got to feel it in whatever different club you play for until you get there and you feel it. It's different. We were a little bit talking earlier there about the feeling of playing in the Premier League and the intensity and playing into that to start with. To go into United, there's something there that, and going, it'll help them going over there and feeling it and what it's like in the States, and then. On the travels, because it's very difficult to put into. I'm here to put it into words. It's very difficult to describe of that intensity, that expectation.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't get offended. Don't get offended, Glenn, with Tottenham. But I remember I was actually with Michael the day he signed for Manchester United, and Tottenham, huge club. And within a week, you were saying to me, "Wow, this is different." Even you coming from Spurs, never mind with great respect to Brentford.
I think you can take it both ways. It can scare you, like you're saying, and you can be, this is big, or you can think, it's a bit of me. This, I love this, and embrace it and go. Yeah. And it's a huge challenge to step up, and coming from a good Premier League team to a very good Premier League team to a huge football club. Yeah. That's why it's talent's good, fantastic. You need a bit of talent, but that next level of what's going on in between your ears and how you cope with it. That sets players apart, and you've got to be able to cope with that to play at different sized football clubs.
You've got to, the word that you use is embrace it. You've got to step up. Man United come in for you. Even the Man United of last year, they're a massive, massive club. So the thought of, if Man United are coming in for you, I've got to be a good player. And in sport, the more the pressure, the bigger the game, there's got to be something about you.
It's a privilege,
it's a privilege.
There's a privilege for me.
That must take you into another level. OK, you've got to do it over a period of time, not just 1 game or 2 games. But if you're a top player and United are coming in for you, the reason they're coming in for you is you're a top player. You've got to be a top player. You've got to mentally be strong and actually say, I'm above this. I'm going to do as good as any great player in this club has ever done. And that's the attitude you've got to have, and put that little bit of inner pressure on you. Getting back to United just very quickly, Manchester United over the last couple of seasons, they've become almost like a one-man club. If Fernandes didn't play well, Man United, you stopped them from playing. Yeah. I look at this team and I think, hang on a minute, they're a bit different. You've got some other players there, like Cunha for one, could have a magnificent season. He's somebody that can unlock the door for a centre-forward, as well as Fernandes. Fernandes might have to adjust and play a little slightly different. But to have that at Man United for a few seasons now, that one player, if you stop him playing, you're going to stop Man United. I mean, now,
balance, I think.
yes, they've got to balance it off with the midfield and the defence. The goalkeeper was a nightmare last year. Let's face it, Onana. If they don't put that right, then they're going to be on the back foot. But they've got some offensive power there that can open up any team in the league. They really have.
Yeah, Michael certainly embraced it, right? He took Roy Keane's shirt number straight away. 16,
Exactly.
give it me. Love it.
There you go.